Before I get into the June 8th, 2026 recap, I want to explain why I do these videos. I started streaming because at the time there were people who were retirees, they didn't live in the area, they saw something on the agenda, they were nervous about it, they called me as happening in Richfield and were like, hey, did you read the agenda? Why is this on here? What's going on? I had no idea. And I said to them, look, what I can do is I can stream it so you can hear it in live time. You don't have to go put in an Oprah request because they were a little stressed out. It had to do with their health insurance. And a lot of people watched it. A lot of people shared the video. A lot of people, while there were like, I think that one had like 8,000 views. There were about 400 to 500 people who actually watched it in its entirety. So I continued to stream. And then I noticed like, okay, so we have a couple hundred people watching this, but there are thousands of people in Richfield, and I want people to be able to get a quick recap and know what's going on without having to watch hours of a meeting, whether it be the mayor and council or the board of ed. So that's why I started doing these recaps. Here's the deal. Last night they gave out 80 awards. So the mayor and council meeting started at 6:30. I got there at 7:15. Most of the awards were given out, not all of them. They then started the meeting, and then after they got into the middle of the meeting, they stopped it again to give out more awards. And it basically, was over a half hour of awards. And this is not the first time. There has been a significant amount of the meeting given, to recognizing people. And I'm not saying that those people shouldn't be recognized. I just don't know, for those of us who are there to see what is going on with the town, the room is not a very large room. So when you have 80 recipients and then their family members and the police officers being sworn in, it gets tight, and I don't feel that my presence there helped in any way. So I am going to cover more of what's actually being conducted legislatively in the mayor and council meetings as opposed to the awards. And I do not have to be fair in on this page. It's my page. I could do whatever I want. But I try my best to, right? So I try to be as objective as possible. I might not always achieve it, but an attempt, is made. And I thought to myself, look, if only 3 of these people were getting the award for the exact same thing, I would have covered them. So going forward, in order to be fair to everybody, I'm only going to cover awards or proclamations being given out if you did something extraordinary that saved a life. And I'm not talking, oh, I opened a door. Like, you need to run into a burning building. You have to really, done something great and saved a life. If you volunteered in something for more than 20 years, or if you're a rec team and you won a championship. Other people do good things. That's awesome. Celebrate you in town. I'm just not going to do it as part of the mayor and council recap or live stream. So thank you for understanding, and I'm going to start now with the recap. So the 2 police officers were sworn in, then the awards were given out. Then they went to the consent agenda about stuff that we had already discussed. So ordinance number 2538 was for various public improvements, and it was in the amount of $1,228,875. There was also ordinance 2539, which was a bond to improve Ray Avenue in the amount of $440,744. There was ordinance 2540 amending the building department fee, as that was all on the consent agenda. That all passed unanimously. In past videos, I went into all of them in detail. Then they introduced I guess there was a public hearing as far as what was coming up, the new stuff that they're going to discuss. I guess that's what they were talking about. I wasn't there for that. And full disclosure, there were parts that I missed. I think I came in the second or third of the new things that were introduced. And I did ask the council people just to review with me who voted how. So this is what I'm being told to the best of my knowledge. So ordinances that were introduced. Ordinance 2541 was amending section 255-13 of the licenses for the cannabis. So there are going to be 6 licenses altogether. Introduction of ordinance number 2542, which is amending section 88-6 of the Recreation Committee. Okay, this one got a little, it did pass. Councilman Rue said no on it. Councilman Kim abstained. I'm going to talk about that later in a second. I'll go into more detail on it. Ordinance 2543, and that was amending section 390-84 and another part of the code that got tabled, so it doesn't really matter anyway. Then introduction of ordinance number 2544, which was amending sections of no parking areas, and then there was a handicap section. So basically on Broad and Maple, if you look, there's the new mixed use. There's going to be 2 mixed use. On both corners, there's going to be mixed use. One is currently built. The other is going to be built. And I believe it's both sides of the street. I'm not positive. You can go in and it tells you specifically how many feet, which side. But there's going to be some no parking spots, areas that are designated no parking. And there is an area in front of a specific house that is going to be a handicap space. So we then went into, I'm going to just real quick. Yeah, that was it. I'm going to go over what was the recreation. So ordinance number 254, they basically redid the ordinance for the Recreation Committee. And I don't know what it was before. If you're on the mayor and council, you get stuff that's redlined, and it shows you what they take out, what you put in. I am not on the mayor and council. I do not see that. I just have the normal, ordinary agenda that they put out for the public. So I'm going to tell you what's on there. And it's kind of a big deal because the Park and Recreation, so that commission, oversees like the largest budget of the commissions. So where, some of the committees and commissions only have like $250 to $700, this one oversees the Park and Recs Commission taking out salaries. It's about $132,000 for the year. So they are made up of 14 citizens appointed by the mayor, and that is they're volunteers for 1 year. It does have to be approved by the mayor and council. And for anybody who doesn't know, we do have a recreation director. So Ray Ramirez, I've mentioned this before, but he is both the part-time borough administrator and part-time recreation director. And we currently have a assistant recreation director who is retiring at the end of the month. I do not know if that position is going to be replaced or not. So then you have the commission, which is made up of volunteers, and they do not get paid. So you have 14 citizens. They're appointed by the mayor for 1 year. They're basically in an advisory role, and they say like, hey, we kind of want to see this. We want to see that. They advise on programs, special events. So what would that be? That would be like, okay, let's put in yoga, which we have, or let's do an egg hunt, or, different things that we see in town. They kind of suggested. Then that commission breaks up into committees and they work on different things. It went into the membership. There's going to be 14 members, 7 alternates. Alternates are promoted in order of joining. An alternate can be on committees, and attendance should apply equally to all alternates. Then officers are elected for a year, and they can be elected again up to 5 years. If a member is absent for more than 3 meetings and it's not approved by, I guess, the council, the person in charge, the chairman, it is considered a resignation. And all members are expected to attend at least 3 events. All executive members, so those are the officers, should be on at least 2 committees. And then it goes into what the duties of the officers are. They talk about the meetings. They meet regularly the 3rd Monday at Borough Hall. Their reorg is in January. Now, there was a typo here that was pointed out. The chairperson and 8 members equals quorum. And it said 8, but in parentheses, there was the number 3, so there was a typo there. Um, Alternate members can vote if a member is absent. If there are multiple people absent, then the order of which alternates get to vote depends on who showed up first at the meeting that night. Then it talks about the order of their meetings that it should run in, the committee chairs, direct appointments. So the committee chair and the director, who would be Ray, appoints who is on which committee. The chair is on all the committees. Standing committees are special events, fundraising, sponsorship, and bylaws. Special committees or liaisons can be created or appointed by the chairperson and the director. And then it talks, the numbers committees can change as needed. They talk about voting. They talk about bylaws. You can participate, and then the members themselves, they can participate in recreation. They have to follow the rules. It should kind of be a given. If there is like a prize at random, so like you're pulling a ticket out or something like that, recreation commission members and their immediate family can partake in that. But if it's being selected by recreation, they cannot partake in that. And then at the bottom, there's just like a general disclosure. If anything here goes against a borough ordinance or goes against, state or federal law, it doesn't apply. There was a lot of talk about the changes in this. I'm going to be honest, I don't know what it was before, so I'm not really sure. But I can tell you that not only were there multiple council people who kind of, I don't want to say went back and forth, but spoke about this, and there was discussion there. There were also many people from the audience who got up and made comments on this. So that's why I wanted to take a moment to fully explain that. Resolution 158/2026 was to correct Resolution 150/2026. So those are the part-time fire inspectors, and there was a misprint in their salary. Their salary is actually $29 an hour. Resolution 159/2026 was, and this one I don't understand. I'm going to tell you what I got from it. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, just drop a comment below. There was an $8,215,000 bond dated May 14th, 2026, and it's payable for November 12th, 2026. And from what I understood, that resolution was basically saying that it was a qualified tax exempt obligation, that we don't have to pay tax on that. If it was something else, somebody please comment below. Resolution number 160/2026 was an employee hired between January 1st and June 30th, and they've been working there for less than a year. They get their initial salary increment on the anniversary of when they joined. So let's say they joined February 1st, they would get that on February 1st. And then after that, their second year and going forward, they would get that increment on that January 1st in advance. So resolution number 161/2026 was, there was a tax lien. There was an overpayment of like $201 that was refunded. Resolution 162/2026 was the National Opioid Settlement Grant. We got $645.39 from that. Resolution number 163/2026, the 2026 Clean Communities Grant, we got $21,931.96 for that. Resolution number 164/2026, they hired some extra pool employees. And resolution 165/2026 was the cost of fireworks, which was $22,313. I have always been told that this has been fundraised, so this is all through sponsorships. Resolution 166/2026, they hired 2 co-directors for the summer camp. And resolution 167/2026 was the warrants in the amount of $10,280,534.87. Now I'm going to go on to, and this is just recap of the different things, all between the mayor and all the council people, the different things that they did speak about. So they extended the time for discounted pool rates. So if you have not signed up for the pool, you can still get a discounted rate. There's going to be a sensory play date at Borelli Park. The website PO was cut, so that was something that was talked about in great length last meeting. So they did do that. So the new website is being created. There is going to be a rabies vaccine at the health department. You can bring your pets down and get the rabies vaccine on June 12th. I do have that flyer. It was shared with me, so it is up online on the page. You could check it out. And we also, in addition to getting to paid police officers, we had 6 volunteer firefighters, join the fire department and volunteer their service, which is awesome. And July 4th. So there have been a lot of questions about July 4th. It is the 250th anniversary. For anybody who follows this page, I sing the praises of the library. Maria has bringing in a lot of reenactors, people who talk about different parts of history, from the art to the music, to the nitty gritty. In fact, there was an amazing one during the mayor and council meeting. So as far as 4th of July, and outside of the library, the town is going to do their annual July 3rd fireworks. And the question was, are you doing anything special considering it's the 250th birthday? And the answer was that the town, or recreation committee specifically, is going to be looking into doing something in the fall. So in the fall, there's going to be some sort of festival with reenactors. And for the July 3rd, there's going to be 1 or 2 events at the fireworks, such as, I forget what the second one was. The one was like dressed as a revolutionary or in revolutionary wear or something like that. There's going to be some sort of contest. And I want to say the second one was like a small parade or something like that. Sorry, I don't remember. There are 1 or 2 things that they're adding to the fireworks that haven't been there in the past. But it's nothing major. The major things are going to be in the fall. So stay tuned for that. And when I get the flyer for July 4th with the activities that they are going to be having, I will share that so you can, know that specifically.